Welcome to BNEWS Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher along with BNEWS Director Rich Hosford, BNEWS reporters Tad Stefanak, Robert Paris and Chris Flaherty, John Vias with the weather, Liz Gillespie with sports, and Gretchen Carey with community calendar. Thank you for joining us. Lock your vehicles when you leave them for the night. The Burlington Police Department reported on Thursday they had received approximately 50 complaints of vehicles being broken into the night before. In most instances, the doors were left unlocked. Police say that even if you don't have anything of value in the vehicle, to lock it anyway because thieves can do damage. There is also a possibility of someone sleeping in your vehicle, which would be a startling surprise to come across as you get ready to head out for the day. Burlington's numbers of COVID-19 cases continues to decline. According to the Massachusetts Department of Public Health's latest report, dated March 4, Burlington's percent positivity rate is 2.58%, and the town's average daily incident rate per 100,000 people is 17.5. Further, in the past 14 days, there have been a total of 68 positive tests in the town. The previous report from February 25 had Burlington's percent positivity rate at 2.7 and the daily incident rate at 17.7. According to DPH, in order for a community to move into the green, it would have to have an average daily incident rate per 100,000 people of 10 and less than 10 total cases. Locally, Bedford, Billerica, Wilmington, and Woburn are also in the yellow. Lexington is the first to get into the green. Teachers and other members of school department staff will soon be eligible for COVID-19 vaccines if they can get an appointment. On Wednesday, the Baker-Polito administration announced that K-12 educators, child care workers, and K-12 school staff will be eligible to schedule COVID-19 vaccine appointments starting March 11th. This group of workers will join the current eligible groups, including those 65 plus and individuals with 2 or more medical conditions listed by the state. Educators may book appointments at all 170 sites currently open to eligible residents in Massachusetts by visiting www.mass.gov/COVID vaccine map. However, WBZ reports the administration will not be sending vaccines to individual school districts, quoting Baker as saying he doesn't believe educators should have more access than those over 65 have. The Baker administration said they expect Massachusetts to receive 150,000 doses of the first shot per week until the end of March. After that, the expectation is that the supply will increase. Strangely enough, there's no announcement as to when cashiers and bag boys, who have the most exposure to the populace, will be allowed to get vaccines. The Bedford VA says any veteran in their system, no matter their age, can sign up for COVID-19 vaccination. Designated caregivers enrolled in the VA's program of comprehensive assistance for family caregivers support may also receive the COVID vaccine with the veteran for whom they care. Veterans should call the COVID vaccination clinic appointment line to schedule their appointment at the vaccination clinic in the auditorium of Edith Norse Rogers Memorial Veterans Hospital in Bedford. All vaccine recipients will be monitored for 15 minutes after your vaccination to determine whether or not you have any allergies. Veterans will automatically be scheduled for their second dose in 3 weeks while in the clinic. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention specify that because of the differences in the formulations of the various COVID vaccines available, this 2-dose series must be administered at the same location. By receiving the first dose at VA Bedford, veterans agree to return to the same location for their second dose for their own safety and to ensure maximum vaccine efficacy. As of February 28, VA Bedford Healthcare System has administered more than 20,000 first and second doses of the Pfizer BioNTech COVID-19 vaccination to employees and veterans. Their goal is to get the vaccine to every veteran enrolled in VA healthcare who wants it. The rules for Burlington cemeteries may be altered. No, that's not true. After the Burlington Area Chamber of Commerce staff was furloughed due to the economic downturn 6 months ago, President Rick Parker has returned and is ready to assist Burlington businesses recovering from the impacts of the pandemic. BNEWS Director Rich Hosford spoke to him by Zoom and has this report.
Burlington Area Chamber of Commerce President Rick Parker is back. The staff was put on furlough roughly 6 months ago after the economic downturn made it difficult for businesses in town to pay their dues, and the Chamber's big fundraisers were put on pause due to the pandemic. But as of March 1st, Rick has returned and is ready to get down to work.
Well, I think, certainly the people who were left here to kind of keep the lights on did yeoman's work to really keep things going. But for all intents and purposes, the chamber has been on a hibernation for the past 6 months, and we're just getting back to waking it up and seeing what the new business climate looks like.
He said there are a lot of challenges facing Burlington businesses, and what is needed to address them is cooperation.
And we need to make sure that we work together closer than ever, because we all have a shared goal is to, rebound and get back to the new normal, and get as we emerge from being locked in, and everyone gets vaccinated, we're going to see a new business climate. We want to make sure that we can be ready for it and be a leader in the region.
I asked if he was optimistic that Burlington was going to make a healthy recovery.
Absolutely. Business is a big part of Burlington, always has been. And I think the recovery of the economy we're seeing is really going to start in the suburbs rather than the urban areas, getting people back to work or back to what the new normal is. And Burlington is poised to be in a much better position than a lot of other cities and towns in the suburbs. It's going to be interesting, but I do think that Burlington is better positioned than a lot of areas to help this recovery.
So does that mean the return to popular chamber events like the Taste, the Charity Black Tie Gala, and the Spring Soiree?
We certainly are, and I think, Rich, it'll be some period of time before it comes back to the full-blown 500 people in one room. But there'll be some steps in the process. I do think we will see some virtual events and some combination of in person and virtual. We've got a lot of work to do to get that to the point where it can be a viable event. But our focus immediately is going to be to give the assistance to businesses to help them recover.
Finally, I asked if he was happy to be back.
Absolutely. I've been a worker all my life, and while I've been doing a lot of things around the house, I've kept a tab on what's going on. And I must admit to being one of those Facebook users on planning board meetings, and I'm an active member of town meetings, so I have stayed engaged. But I look forward to helping the business community rebound.
On a Zoom call with BACC President Rick Parker, I'm BNews Director Rich Hosford.
Want to give a shout out to fellow BCAT volunteer Sonia Rollins, who through her programming was able to keep Burlington Business Issues and the Chamber of Commerce on BCAT during their hiatus. Okay, now I'm not confused. The rules for Burlington cemeteries may be altered for greater clarity and to allow families a bit more flexibility in what can be placed on grave sites. DPW Director John Sanchez was at last week's Board of Selectmen meeting with recommended policy changes that he said were recently unanimously voted in favor of by the town's Cemetery Oversight Committee. He said the revisions clarify the type of graveside plantings that may be allowed, as well as clarifying the removal schedule of holiday decorations. Changes to the policy include allowing for small holiday decorations 2 weeks prior to a holiday that will be removed 2 weeks after the holiday has passed, detailing where flowers and other plants can be placed, and adding to the list of objects that cannot be placed due to hazards to landscaping crews and equipment. Sanchez said that in the past there has been confusion on the part of both families and crews about what is allowed and when, and he hopes these modifications to the policy will help everyone clearly see the rules. Board members said they too wanted to ensure that the cemeteries are kept in pristine condition, but also see that grieving families are not faced with overly strict regulation. Both Chairman Joe Morandine and Selectman Mike Runyon, who are members of the Oversight Committee, recommended the new rules be adopted. The other members asked for more time to review the changes to the policy, and it was decided to continue the discussion to the next meeting. Runyon said he thought the changes made sense and encouraged his fellow board members to vote in favor when they reconvened. Burlington's own Amy Poehler produced, directed, and stars in the Netflix film Moxie. A huge fan of the book, Burlington Public Library young adult librarian Nicole Monk interviewed Amy over Zoom on adapting author Jennifer Matu's rebellious material. BNEWS reporter Tad Stefanak talked to Nicole about the experience and has this report.
Hey, Mom, what do 16-year-olds care about?
When I was 16, all I cared about was smashing the patriarchy and burning it all down.
Oh, my God.
Girls constitute a revolution.
Burlington native Amy Poehler produced, directed, and stars in the new Netflix film Moxie, based on the book by Jennifer Matu, a fun, fierce, feminist manifesto for high school girls.
Revolution, baby!
A fan of the book, Burlington Library's young adult librarian Nicole Monk spoke with Amy about making Moxie.
Thanks to help from BCAT, we Zoomed with Amy, and she talked about how she learned about the book and turning it into a movie and what that process was like.
It was one of those great projects that started kind of in-house from the bottom up. So we met with Jennifer, we optioned the book, we found writers, we produced it. I decided to direct it and be in it. So it was just like a really fun process.
The book is about Vivian, who is a teenager in Texas, and she's really sick of the school letting the football players get away with whatever they want because they're football players, and they have a very sexist attitude at this school.
Can I help you?
I don't know, can you?
He's bothering you. He's harassing me. If you use that word, that means I have to do a bunch of stuff.
She finds some Riot Girl music that used to belong to her mother, as well as some zines, and she's just really inspired to try to fight back and change the culture and make the boys at her school responsible for their own behavior. And she works together, and she starts getting together with these girls and really forms some great bonds.
So how involved was Jennifer Matu in the making of the movie? What was it like collaborating with an author?
What's so special about Jennifer is she's a teacher. she's an English teacher in Texas. So she was writing what she knew. And we spoke to her about really trying to maintain the soul of the book, the feeling of it, especially the mother-daughter relationship, which a lot of what the story, is centered around.
Don't keep secrets from me. I'm actually already pregnant.
Very funny joke, right?
In the spirit of the book and the film, Nicole put together some goodie bags with Moxie.
Mostly we're making them because I was very excited about this movie. I think it's a great message. Teens learning to stand up for themselves and how they can really make a difference in their community, and so I wanted to show that. The initial thing that seemed very obvious was how to make a zine. In the book, the teens make a zine. It's like a handmade magazine. That's how they communicate, and that's how they sort of get together and plan things. So those supplies are in there. There's some Moxie soda just because it makes me laugh. There's a QR code so that they can listen to some of the Riot Girl music that really inspires the teen in the book and the movie. There are Moxie stickers thanks to Netflix. There are temporary tattoo stars.
I'm wearing my hearts and stars, and for people that don't know, in the film, this is just an example of how the young women kind of signal to each other that they're going to join the fight.
And what are you hoping that teens take away from Moxie?
I hope they think it's cool and funny. And I hope they think that the characters are people they recognize. I hope it's a film that inspires them or challenges them. I hope they have a feeling about it. It doesn't even have to be a good one. I just hope they feel something about it. I hope they sense that the cast care deeply about what they were making. I hope they feel a sense of authenticity because it really existed in the making of this. And I think we're all coming off a very lonely year, very isolated year. So I think if it reminds them the community is important, finding your group, and that you can't do anything alone, then we've done our job right.
There are people out there that you probably don't know that are across your clique lines that probably agree with you. And so reach out, forge, and make those connections.
Moxie, produced, directed, and starring Burlington's own Amy Poehler,
I'm excited to be back on BCAT. It's been a long time.
can be seen on Netflix. From the Burlington Public Library, I'm BNEWS reporter Tad Stefanak.
The Burlington Fire Department has received a grant that will be used to help keep the town's seniors safe. Chief Michael Patterson said in a release he is pleased to announce the Burlington Fire Department has been awarded $2,680 for the Senior Safe program by the Massachusetts Department of Fire Services. The Burlington Fire Department will use the grant money to continue the department's fire education and prevention program within the senior community. Senior Safe also aims to improve safety in senior housing. The Burlington Fire Department partners with the Council on Aging as part of the community's senior smoke and carbon monoxide programs. Chief Patterson said the department is grateful to receive the funding to protect some of the town's most vulnerable residents, and they look forward to connecting with seniors through the program. The Senior Safe program is in its 7th year. Each year, $1.9 million is distributed to local fire departments for both the Senior Safe and the Student Awareness of Fire Education programs through the Executive Office of Public Safety and Security. Both programs are administered by the State Department of Fire Services. The Pinewood Derby is a cornerstone of the Cub Scouts calendar every year, but as is custom with all events in this pandemic, this year's Derby will be going virtual. Scouts from local packs 105 and 555 will watch their cars race at the United Church of Christ Hall on Saturday, March 6th via live stream on the BCAT Facebook page. This past Saturday, Scouts dropped their cars off for inspection at the Impound event located right outside our BCAT studio. BNEWS reporter Chris Flaherty was there and spoke to the Cub Masters for a look at this year's races.
The Pinewood Derby is a long-standing tradition of the Cub Scouts. This year, as a result of the ongoing pandemic, packs 105 and 555 are adapting the Derby for the times. Scouts will still race their cars, but will be watching from the safety and comfort of their homes.
We are limited in how we are able to run the Derby this year. We could either do the Derby outside, or we could do it inside virtually with a skeleton crew. So we decided to do the skeleton crew, and the Webelos ones, which are 4th graders, are earning their movie-making badge by producing the Derby with the help of BCAT.
On Saturday, March 6th, the Derby will be live streamed from the United Church of Christ Function Hall on the BCAT Facebook page. On Saturday, February 27th, Scouts drop their cars off for inspection at the Impound outside the BCAT studio.
They are getting their photo taken in our little photo booth. They are filling out a registration card to identify themselves with their car, and then they get their cars weighed in. All cars cannot be more than 5 ounces exactly. They have to be a certain width and a certain length so they fit on the track. And there are also some key elements that we are testing for because we want to make it a level playing field for all the Cubs at the race.
The Pinewood Derby not only gives Scouts an activity to do with their families, it teaches them teamwork and gives a sense of camaraderie. Cub Masters hope everyone can take away the same values and level of enjoyment this year, even though we're together but apart.
I know it's something that we all look forward to every year. It's one of the big events that we do. We didn't know how we're going to do this, because normally the Pinewood Derby is just in a big room and there's food and people are running around and it's crazy. But people still want to, do this project. It's really fun, I think, for the parents as well. I know some of the parents really get involved. So even if we can't be live for the race, I think it's been, one of the few things that we've really been able to enjoy doing.
A lot of the dens, which are the age groups of Cubs, haven't been able to meet in person. And we haven't been able to meet as a pack, which is grades kindergarten through 5th grade. So we wanted some way that we could still meet as a pack, continue this tradition, but do it safely in the midst of how the COVID restrictions are in place.
Until next time, this is Chris Flaherty for BNEWS Weekly.
That was our own BCAT's president, Linda McNamee, doubling as Scoutmaster. The town of Burlington is offering a rain barrel program through the Great American Rain Barrel Company. Burlington Conservation and Department of Public Works are working to get discounted rain barrels for Burlington residents. As you know, Burlington is currently under a non-essential outdoor water ban because the town needs an emergency permit to connect to the Massachusetts Water Resources Authority supply line. To be able to connect to the MWRA system, the town must be in a water emergency, which requires a water ban. This is because the treatment plant, of course, is under repair. It won't be long before we start thinking of our lawns and landscaping, and the more water we can save and reuse, the better it is for the environment and your water bill. Rain barrels also help reduce stormwater runoff from roofs and gutters and the use of municipal water for watering. Rain barrels are available for purchase from the Great American Barrel Company at the discounted price of $69. To order your rain barrels, visit the Great American Barrel Company website and select Burlington. You can find a link on our website at bcattv.org. Rain barrel pickup will be held Saturday, May 8th from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Burlington Town Hall. In our news segment that looks at social issues in Burlington, BHS student and a member of the Burlington Against Racism Youth, Sarah Shake, talks about the connection between having access to transportation and students' ability to fully participate in all that the school has to offer. Let's have a look.
Sarah Shake, and currently I'm part of this youth organization called Burlington Against Racism Youth, short form for BAR Youth, and it's a community organization separate from schools, and it's related to the Burlington Against Racism overall organization. As a group, BAR Youth had to pick an idea or an issue that we wanted to focus on first. And as we were discussing, we realized that many students at our high school have issues regarding like getting rides from sports, like extracurricular activities and things like that. And there's no set system or like a solution to the problems that these students are facing. And because of that, we wanted to collaborate with the transportation committee into the town and bring light to the fact that many students are unable to join extracurricular activities because of their transportation issues. Another thing that we realized a lot was that the condition of the sidewalks in our town in regards to like students who walked to school or who needed to walk to school because of ride issues and had to stay after school and had to walk home. So when we brought all these ideas together, we spoke to the sidewalk committee and the transportation committee into the town and decided to create the survey. So I feel like for students especially, like their high school career is hugely impacted through extracurricular activities. That helps the students like shine out, like they basically shine out into something that's different and unique to them. And you won't achieve that like without having like students participating in extracurricular activities. And I feel that all students should be able to give that chance to at least, try out and be part of the team and make their high school experience more memorable. So the survey was created by BAR Youth in collaboration with the Transportation Committee. The questions are all directed towards students in the high school and middle school. The goal of the survey is to gather data and also gather like specific stories that are unique to students when it comes to what issues they have faced at any point in their high school or like middle school careers. I feel like when it comes to like equity in our town, there's a huge divide when it comes to like socioeconomic statuses in families. And like unfortunately you see a correlation between a lower like socioeconomic status in families and like students' participation outside of class. So when it comes to giving the students like equal opportunity to participate in any activity that they would like, transportation becomes a major like block or an obstacle that the students have to pass. There are many students that I know, and including me, who had to either like stay after school really late or walk to school in the morning due to lack of rides. And I don't think that students should not be given the opportunity to join or participate in a club just because they have ride issues.
The winter sports season has come to a close, but there are two teams worthy of further examination who went the entire season without facing defeat. We go now to BNEWS sports reporter Liz Gillespie for the final sports report of the season.
Hey everyone, I'm Liz Gillespie for your weekly sports report. We have two special features for this week on girls ice hockey and girls gymnastics teams. First, let's take a look at the girls varsity ice hockey team as they ran the table this year and finished the regular season 8-0-1. For more on this, we go to BNews sports reporter Robert Paris.
Second-year head coach Rick Sheehan had to deal with a number of obstacles during the modified season. However, one thing the athletes did as a team was finish the year strong at 8-0 during the regular season.
We're pretty happy with that. I don't know if anytime you walk into a season you expect to go undefeated. It takes a lot of hard work and a little bit of luck, and I think we had a little bit of both this year. The girls worked really hard. Of course, it was a shortened season. Had we played 20 games, I doubt we would have stayed undefeated for all 20. But the fact that we went undefeated for 7 of them was pretty cool.
The team did clinch a playoff spot against the Reading Rockets at the Ice Palace, winning the game 5-1. They then took on their Win Street rivals, the Woburn Tanners, where things came to an abrupt halt after suffering a 6-1 defeat.
I had a team meeting, and I said, unfortunately, you didn't experience losing till the very end, which was unfortunate in the sense that it was our only loss of the season. It was really kind of devastating.
Coach Sheehan found the senior captains to be excellent leaders during the strange time that we are in.
The 5 seniors we had have been great leaders, very similar to the girls' basketball team. Good kids. They've worked really hard. They've done everything. Actually, 4 out of the 5 seniors played since their 8th grade year. They did a great job as role models. They worked really hard. They did everything I asked.
Everyone on the team is very appreciative that they got an opportunity to skate on the ice.
They're a really nice group of kids. They've really created a positive atmosphere. We didn't have a locker room this year, but last year, and it's the same 5 seniors that were juniors last year that did a really good job of bringing. We play 8th graders every year, and they were good about bringing them in and making them feel part of the team. And they're just great kids. They come from really good families, and I'm going to miss that probably the most.
I'm Robert Paris for BNews Sports.
Now, let's take a look at the girls gymnastics team and how they completed the undefeated journey. BNews sports reporter Robert Paris has more.
Girls gymnastics proved that they can accomplish anything, especially finishing the season at 8-0 and being the Middlesex League champs.
Historically, Burlington, we've been on the top at times, we've been in the middle, and we've been at the bottom. And, being involved as a high school gymnast myself the years that I was there, and then taking some time off from coaching and coming back, we've been all over the place. So it was really nice to kind of be back up, up in the top.
The team captains are what kept this team motivated and enthusiastic while having modified meets.
I think that when we vote for captains, when we have multiple seniors and we're voting for captains, I think the team really knows who their leaders are, and they got it right. And we had 3 great leaders and captains this year. So I usually trust that the team knows who they need to help lead them, and they did a great job.
The league tournament, featuring all 8 Middlesex League teams, did not happen due to COVID. However, the girls were very proud of the accomplishment.
I think that was really different from previous years, so we definitely weren't really expecting it. We knew we had a lot of talent coming up in the freshman class and in the sophomore class, but I definitely wasn't expecting for us to go undefeated, but it was a really good surprise, and I think everybody just started to work really hard.
Our first meet, we went against Reading, and Reading hasn't lost in 5 years. And we ended up beating them, and that was just such a good start to our season. That I feel like that just on its own kind of brought us all closer and made us realize that what we are really capable of.
In the past years, we've had a good solid team, but there's just been so many more outstanding teams, and then this year we actually did really well. So it was a huge shock at the beginning, but I'm super proud with how it turned out.
Definitely the fact that we did do so well this year, I think made up for the unfortunate parts of this season. The good thing that we could all share that made, it just made it much more enjoyable, because I know if we weren't doing as well and we had COVID, it would make it harder for us to enjoy what we were doing.
I think that I would say that probably the most challenging thing was not having everyone together, like they said, to celebrate the ups and downs at the meets.
3 Middlesex League All-Stars were also named. Sam Wynn, Ava Shank Davis, and Ilex Fowler. Over Zoom with the BHS girls gymnastics team, I'm Robert Paris for BNEWS Sports.
Girls volleyball starts the season off on Saturday, March 6th at BHS. Freshmen and JV start at 9 a.m. and varsity at 11 a.m. All teams will be facing the Wilmington Wildcats and will be live streamed on the BCAT Facebook page. And that's all for your weekly sports report. I'm Liz Gillespie. Back to you guys in the studio.
We will have more BHS sports coming up in the next several weeks, I think, as football is also underway, along with volleyball. BNews weatherman Peter Brown is out this week, but never fear, we have our own John Vias with the 7-day forecast. We'll also check out the community calendar with Gretchen Carey to see what's happening in Burlington.
Hey everyone, and welcome to your weekly weather report. This is John Vias filling in for Peter Brown. We've got a bit of a wild ride in terms of temperatures this cycle, though the sun will be shining pretty consistently. We start off cold on Friday with a high of only 32 and a low of 27. Saturday will also be cool, with a high of 30 and a low of 17. Sunday will pick up a little with temperatures reaching 33 before dropping back down to 19 overnight. Monday is when things begin to change. We could see temperatures rising up to 40 with an overnight low of 29. Tuesday will be warmer, yet with a 53 with an overnight temperature just over freezing at 33. Now Wednesday is the pick of the week, with mostly sunny skies and temperatures perhaps getting all the way up to 60 and a relatively comfortable overnight low of 42. And finally on Thursday, will also be warm with a high of 59 and an overnight low of 47. But we will likely see some clouds rolling in. And that's all for your weekly weather report. I'm John Vias, and as Peter Brown always says, get out there and enjoy the weather and have a good week.
Hey everyone, I'm Gretchen Carey, and this is your community calendar. We are coping with this new way of living life. On Thursday, March 18th, at 7 p.m., the Burlington Public Library will be having a presentation called The New Normal New England Road Trip with Ted Reinstein. For more information on the event and to register, visit the program's calendar at www.burlingtonpubliclibrary.org. Help wanted. The Burlington Parks and Recreation Department is seeking enthusiastic staff for 2021 summer help. To learn more about this employment opportunity, visit www.burlingtonrecreation.org. It is time to socialize from a distance. On Thursday, March 11th, from 4:30 to 6 p.m., the Lexington Area Chamber of Commerce will be having an event called Revolutionize Networking at Revolution Hall in Lexington. This is an in-person event only. For more info and to register, go to lexingtonchamber.org. I'm Gretchen Carey, and that was your community calendar.
All of us old-timers are keeping our fingers crossed because if the temperatures hold next week, the golf courses will be open in a couple of weeks. Snow will be gone. Another week, another photo to highlight. This week's photo features a couple of backyard visitors spending some time in the snow. It was sent in by John Sherman and shows 2 yearling white-tailed deer in his yard. One of them appearing to be snacking on a tree branch. It's late in the season, so they're eating your bushes as well. John said the deer appeared to be healthy despite the cold. Thank you for the photo, John. We'd like to see your photos. They could be of your holiday activities, a family trip, or just everyday moments. Whatever you think is interesting and want to share with us and the community. Email your photos to bcat@bcattv.org with the subject line Photo of the Week. Okay, that's it from the news desk here at BNews Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher with Rich Hosford, John Vias, Ted Stefanak, Robert Paris, Chris Flaherty, Gretchen Carey, Liz Gillespie. Thank you for joining us.